I finally got around to watching the Kaceytron Ethan Klein lawsuit update video. Mostly it was Kaceytron talking about how this lawsuit has been affecting her and her family, and obviously it has been pretty devastating, as one would expect. The whole thing really just confirms to me how much Ethan really sucks, because apparently Kaceytron did try and settle, but because this is not about copyright infringement or anything like that and is completely about just harassing these people, Ethan didn't settle. He wants $150,000, which is, I guess, the maximum for malicious copyright infringement. And Kaceytron does seem to think it's unlikely that she will be found guilty of malicious copyright infringement, so she obviously did not agree to that, and I doubt she likely has the funds to agree to that, as Ethan obviously knows as well. Ethan apparently rejected this and then posted it on his Instagram. I probably missed that one just because I wasn't paying attention to Ethan very much, but it doesn't surprise me. And it does kind of lead me back to a point that I want to talk about at some point in this video, which is that Ethan obviously is just doing this to harass these women, but at the same time, it's so obvious, and yet people are acting like, no, it's the copyright infringement. Obviously, you have the worst people in Kaceytron's mentions under this video talking about her. And one of the things I noticed was that a lot of these people, when talking about Kaceytron facing the consequences of her actions, they would bring up Asmongold. They would talk about how she talked about Asmongold, how she has been shit-talking Asmongold for years. But Asmongold is not the one suing her. So how is Ethan Klein suing her getting the consequences of her actions for shit-talking Asmongold? It's so clear that these people don't care about Ethan's copyright infringement or anything like that. They care about seeing these women suffer, and especially seeing Kaceytron suffer. She's obviously in a very vulnerable position, as many of whom are disabled and unable to work themselves. And so she is the main sort of breadwinner in her home, and it is just very evil. It's very evil, and I don't want to hear any defense of it. I don't want to hear anybody try and be like, oh, Ethan gets to do whatever he wants. Even Kaceytron in this video, which it did her no favors, nobody cared, people still attacked her, but even Kaceytron in this video says that if Ethan feels like she committed copyright infringement, then he has a right to pursue that. And that is technically true, but on a human level, I don't know how you watch this person continue to go through this, knowing that it could carry out for another full year, including the harassment campaign she is suffering. I don't know how you watch this and you claim to be somebody who cares about humans, who cares about other people, who isn't a piece of shit, who isn't just a dark person who loves to watch the people he hates suffer. If you're not a vindictive piece of shit, I don't know how you sit here and you watch this woman make this video and continue to suffer because you want to get some sort of personal moral gain. He doesn't need the money. Kaceytron, I highly doubt, caused him any real damages, cost him any real money. This is all about making her suffer. Something that makes that very clear, and it's included in the way that he interacts with other women, even women that he's not suing, like Taylor Lorenz, who he has been having a crash out about basically all over Thanksgiving weekend. Taylor posted about missing working in retail, and while I personally cannot relate because I am not an extroverted person, I don't like crowds, I have anxiety, I don't like busy times of year, so I don't even like going out shopping for the holidays myself. But she said that she missed working retail. Not an insane thing to say. People feel that way. I just don't, but people do feel that way sometimes. Ethan, of course, lost his fucking mind over it and was like, stolen valor for retail workers. And of course, he's kind of joking, but at the same time, this is what he does. He makes a post about somebody, and his audience then really ramps up that narrative, really leans into it. Like, they keep talking about Taylor being like 50. That's a joke within their community now, and I think it's hilarious because if she's 50, she looks great for 50. What is the joke here? What's the joke, Ethan? Ha ha, woman old? And you're gonna sit here and claim you're not a misogynist? Sure, okay, dude. Alright, man. You keep doing it. You keep proving you're not a misogynist, Ethan Klein. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. But again, it's all about making these women suffer. It's all about ruining their day, making their lives harder. And that does lead me back to our last final point of this video, which is Ethan goes after them no matter what they say and do, right? They are damned if they do, damned if they don't. Let's take Kaceytron for example. Kaceytron tries to settle with Ethan. What does Ethan do? He takes it, posts it on his Instagram for his followers to laugh and mock her. Kaceytron tries to raise money to go to court against Ethan. What does Ethan do? He laughs and mocks her for trying to raise money, for having to fundraise. So which one is it? Either she goes to court, which requires her to fundraise money, or she settles with you, which she pays out of her own pocket. But you won't take the settlement, which means she has to fundraise to make money to protect herself against you and your case. What can she do in this scenario that makes it so Ethan doesn't harass her, doesn't send his goons after her, doesn't send his pathetic little audience after her? Nothing. There's nothing. There never is anything. No matter what she does, no matter what any of these women do, Ethan will find some way to go after them because it's not about copyright infringement. It's not about getting some sort of skewed justice for your perceived slights. It's not about trying to do the right thing and take these women to court and do this the right way. It's about making them suffer. It's about hurting them. If it wasn't a lawsuit, he'd find some other way to do it because that's what his goal is. And it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic for anybody to sit here and pretend that Ethan Klein gives a fuck about copyright infringement, or that Ethan Klein truly believes he suffered genuine damages because of these women reacting to his video. And even two things can be true here. It could come out that a court of law does think that they committed copyright infringement and that they should pay Ethan in some way, shape, or form. I'm not going to sit here and argue aggressively with a judge on whether or not that is the case. If that is what happens, then two things can be true here. Ethan Klein can win the case and still have been a cruel piece of shit in doing so. The outcome of the case does not change the fact that Ethan is engaging in a level of cruelty in suing these women who do not have the funds, who do not have the resources to protect themselves, and knowing full well that he is subjecting them to the full wrath of the misogynistic, racist, awful people who hate Ethan almost as much as they hate these women. Ethan was crashing out over Taylor Lorenz, and I did mention this earlier, but he basically got mad at Taylor Lorenz for this post. It's a story from Ethan's Instagram, and it shows a tweet of Taylor's where she says Israel has a serious problem with Nazi youth. These children are being indoctrinated from a very young age. Ethan responds by saying, calling them Nazis is racist point blank. Using Nazi as an insult against a Jewish person is a slur. If these kids are saying horrible things, there are a ton of different words to use. Extremists, religious supremacists, bigots, or just call them racists. The reason Taylor and others use this word is because they know it's especially hurtful to call a Jewish person a Nazi. To normalize the weaponization of this word as a slur against the Jewish people. These kids may very well be expressing evil, but use your supposed elite 100K per year education, Taylor. Surely there is more to the world than Nazi or not Nazi. And this right here demonstrates the fundamental problem that Ethan Klein will always have. No matter what anyone says, he will find some way to defend Israel and Israelis and Israeli society from the harshest of the criticisms levied against it. Zionism, Zionists, are Nazis. This comparison is made because it is the easiest for people to understand. It is the easiest way to conceptualize this to the average person. Most people are familiar with Nazis. Ethan and Hila will have this whole problem where they're like, we've condemned Israel, we're against genocide, etc., 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 etc. What do they want from us? What more could they possibly want from us? We want you to stop doing this. When someone acknowledges the problem with Israeli society and that they do teach their children akin to how the Nazi youth were taught, and someone points that out and you throw a fucking tantrum because you're saying, oh, you can't call a Jewish person a Nazi, it's really stupid, isn't it? It's really ridiculous, isn't it? It's really obvious, isn't it, what Ethan is doing here? Sure, you've condemned Israel. Sure, you've maybe said you're against the genocide in some way, shape, or form. You've implied it. But have you acknowledged the deep-rooted problems in Israeli society? Are you willing to acknowledge that, yes, Zionists are Nazis? I don't know. I mean, I do know. I know. I know what you're gonna do, Ethan. We all know what he's gonna do. That is the majority of what I wanted to say here. I will try and remember to link her GoFundMe down below as well so you can go and support her because I believe she really needs it and it is just vile what Ethan is doing. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to know what Kaceytron is going through and have to watch as Ethan just continues to do it, you know? Continues to harass these women for no reason other than he's bitter and selfish and petty and vindictive. And once again, two things can be true. Maybe Ethan does have a rightful copyright infringement claim. I personally don't think so, but maybe a judge will decide differently. But that does not negate the fact that he sat here and watched and rejected Kaceytron's attempts to settle with him and then continued to direct hate her way, knowing full well what she was going through. And to me, that is blatant cruelty. There's no way around that. There's no way to make that look nicer, make that sound prettier. You're a piece of shit who does not care about this human being. You want to see them suffer. So just admit that and move on, as opposed to trying to pretend that you give a shit about copyright infringement or you give a fuck about anything else other than hurting this person. That is the end of this video. I am going to wrap it up here, but once again, let me know down below how you feel about all of this. I am curious to hear people's opinions on some of this stuff. If you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. It only takes a moment and it would mean the world to me, so please and thank you. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. That's basically it. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Please take care of yourself. Free Palestine, free Sudan, and goodbye.